hello. Welcome, everybody. You have made it. You've made it to day 3 of Thrive in 2025, the ultimate health kickstart that we're going to be kicking off with today and our final day. And we are bringing it home. We're going to be looking at where it all comes together, answering all your questions, and you are in the right place. So welcome. I'm so pleased to be here. Great to see all these cameras on. You guys know the drill. It's brilliant. And because you showed up live for the experience, we've got an exciting opportunity for many of you. So at the end of this session, we will do a draw, and we're going to be picking someone who will walk away with a free ticket to the upcoming 3.0 challenge. So if you haven't signed up and you're thinking, that would be exciting, then you need to put your name into the chat. Just put your full name in. And we'll be able to put you in. Now, if you've already signed up, and I know some of you are in that category, you'll be like, rats. But you'll be able to have a really bespoke one-to-one coaching session where we do a deep dive on a particular area where you want to go, right, this is where I need the work. This is where I want to do the deep dive. So that's what's up for grabs if you're one of those lucky people as well. So well done on showing up live. Well done on putting you first and being here, because that's how we get action, isn't it? Any change to improve outcomes now is just by taking those wee daily steps. So put your name in the chat. That would be fantastic. We will put you all into a draw at the end. But you have to be here to get it. If you're not here, it's like, okay, redraw. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the other thing I'd love to do is, I don't know if many of you know, but I have a connection with a really cool school in Africa, a Kira school. And so when I went over a few times with Eric and the team, we would often go and visit the school, would take some supplies. We would meet with a lovely man called Gasper, who runs the school. He runs it in a clever way to encourage the children to come to school. He gets them to... he offers free food, so breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and feeds them well. And of course, it's all in alignment with, you know, the way he's learned from lots of things from Eric and his visits to the Hudson and things like that. So over the years, I've been able to see the school change as I've gone back with different visits. And the exciting thing is things are changing. I'll be able to share in my Facebook group, I'll show you some pictures of the hall when it hadn't been built. It was a bit rough at the beginning, but this is the beautiful man Gasper here. He is fantastic. The motto of the school is what you imagine you become. Now I love that, and it's such a good thing to hold, you know, close to our heart during our journey when we're on our health journey. And the kids have that. They have that limitless thinking. They
just started.
If we're just not muted, we'll just ask if you can kindly mute yourself. That would be awesome.
Okay, all right, I shall do that. It'll be
there we go. Great. So yeah, Gasper is an amazing man, and when people have gone through the challenge with me, a Wildfoot challenge, then a portion of each person's challenge fee has gone to a donation to his school. So the kids always do this really fun thing for Valentine's Day. They love to send love around the world, and they'll send their wee messages of hearts. And so I always usually send a message back and it'll do a wee heart message. And so I want to ask a huge favor from everybody on the screen, if that's okay, please. We would like to share a message back to the school, and if we could all do one group photo. I've got my love heart Valentine's Day ears, which I never wear, but I will with this. But if we could do a group photo with some love hearts and to be sending them some love, that would be awesome. You've got no idea how much it would make their day. I get letters constantly, so we'll do a bit of a group one would be brilliant. I'm trying to work out how to do a love heart. That looks pretty realistic. Okay. And Ray, if you can do a screenshot for us, that would be amazing. Right, go team. 3, 2, 1. Nice. I think we got it. I was looking at that. That's hilarious. Thank you. We will send that to them. Great. Thank you, Helene. we have a lovely relationship with them, and I catch up with Gasper very often. But the latest development is they are doing the school hall. When I went there, it was just a shed. Now, at a shed with tarpaulin at the side, and they were cooking the porridge and they had an open fire. Now they have a dining hall that has a kitchen, that has running water. Like, it's incredible. It's been like, it's been 5 years since I was there, like almost to the week. I think yesterday was the memory that popped up on my Facebook. It's been 5 years since we were here. So, you know, that's taken a long time for that. And they're still doing the final touches of the dining hall. There is a wee link. If anyone would like to have a look at it, I can, Ray, if we could share that wee link in the chat, that would be fantastic. The Aokiwa one. And thank you so much. This build a kitchen and dining hall for 200 students. And if you'd like to make a donation, you are absolutely welcome. But for anyone that does sign up to the challenge, a portion of your challenge fee does go towards making a donation. I make donations every year to help getting them heading in the right direction. And the kids are divine, the teachers are divine, the whole environment is beautiful. It reflects the leadership that Gasper has. So thank you. I will send them that you've got no idea, that will make their day. They will just love. And if we can in the chat, put the different places that we're from, and I'll type that up afterwards, and we'll say all the different places where people were sending love from. That would be fantastic. And they will love that. It'll make their day. So let's get into it, team. We've done day one. We've looked at trying to get our head around the most important thing that is probably affecting our health, and we determined that was sleep. And we looked at how we're eating our foods, when we're eating our foods, what particular foods will help us get better sleep, and we looked at how we can try and just make those small wee changes to make sure we're getting that better quality sleep and then getting that better quality health. Day two, we were looking at navigating the minefield of the food industry and, of course, the diet industry, who just have they don't really care too much about our self-esteem. Let's put it that way. And they're not too worried about health. The main goal is obviously lining the pockets. But the key thing is to make sure that we are clever buyers, that we can use that 3-second rule to check out the ingredients on the back of what we're buying, and to try and look for healthy alternatives, and look to try and minimize the amount of ingredients that we're looking for, and looking at close to the natural sources possible. And so those two hacks in itself, if you just were to implement those two things, up your water and do those two things, you'd be well on the way. The other thing I'd like you to do today is we're going to look at, what mindset shift that you could do that just makes healthy living effortless. Because this is something that will change everything, because sometimes we get stuck in that rut. And there's a few wee things we can do to kind of get ourselves in that zone. Can I just ask for a show of hands, who here would do something that brings them back into balance, something that brings in the calm, that kind of regular practice of some description? Yeah, cool. Brilliant. Like for me, yeah, awesome. Okay, so basically when we do those things, when we find the calm and bring ourselves into that place of silence, that is a great way to kind of bring back that balance in our busy day-to-day life, because often we find we're going around in that fight-flight mode, we're in that busy mode. And what can happen is that a lot of the time we don't realize that we are working against ourselves. Now, the step that most people skip, and the mindset shift that needs to happen so that it is an easy thing, is that people don't realize that the momentum can come quite naturally. And we might initially have to use a bit of willpower in the beginning to make sure that things happen. But once we've started to set up that routine, then it just becomes part of our identity. The key thing is and this is what I want you to think about, the mindset shift, is to show up for the future you, okay? Now, I remember going to this talk, and it was about, the lady was talking about close your eyes. I want you to imagine what it's going to be like, when you're 80 or 75. You're going to put on your shoes in the morning and you bend over to put on your shoes, but you can't quite reach. So you get the shoe horn. And she was describing all this. And I was listening going, oh, yeah. That doesn't affect me. So I had tuned out. I just tuned out. It didn't make any sense. And about 7 years later, suddenly those words, they had been stored somewhere in the subconscious. They just came rushing back because I was looking after someone who was in my family who was doing those activities. And I was like, man, it is hard. Putting on shoes, that's hard. I want the mobility, and mobility is important. And you start to realize that you have to start doing things today to invest in who you're going to be further down the track. And of course, as we get older, that becomes more and more important. And so, now I could see what she was trying to describe, but at the time, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen the example of it. And at that stage, everyone in my family was fit and able and healthy. And so I hadn't kind of seen, those backward steps. The fun thing is that often we think, oh, this is just it. I'm getting older. I just have to accept it. Who's had that thought? Well, that's just part of getting older. That's just what I have to accept now. Yeah, yep. But the cool thing is that we don't have to. I've definitely been to a point where I thought, oh, okay, well, that's just part of it. I'm just going to make old people noises when I get up off the floor, or I'm just going to, have those little wee creaks and do it this way, and have those niggles in my knees and ankles. And once you start looking at the foods you're eating closer to the natural source, and doing some of these wee things that give us a wee bit of balance as far as sleep and stress release, then you start to find that the inflammation in the body can die down, and we can start getting back to, I had someone say to me yesterday, I'm doing the challenge again because I want to get back to my 20-year-old self. When I did the challenge last time, I felt like a 20-year-old version of me again, and I had that energy, and that's, we don't have to just accept, oh, this is just part of getting older. This is just part of aging. So I want you to start thinking about that and thinking about showing up for the future you. And a great way to do that, and the easiest way to do that, is to just really connect with your why. That's it. And is to work out, okay, what's your why? Now, some of you have done the challenge before. Some of you have never done the challenge. When you look at your health, I want you to think about, what is your why? Why do you want to get healthy? And put that sentence down. Just write it down. Why is health important to me? And when you ask yourself that question and you start to go, okay, some of these things are important, it's because I want mobility. It's because I want to be able to keep traveling. It's because I want to keep being part of the family life. I don't want everyone else to be going off, with the walk with the grandkids, and I'm just standing on the veranda waving everyone goodbye and saying, have a good time. I want to be on that walk. So it's starting to think like that. I have one client who was getting to that empty nest stage, and she was getting quite fearful because it was like her hook for connecting the family and had been food. She'd used food as a hook. And that was, the kids would come round, they'd have a nice dinner. She said to me once, I love going out to a restaurant because then they're sitting around the table for longer and we get more conversation. And so food had become the main way to connect. However, after a challenge or two she's gone through, and I love to see the shift. Sometimes we don't notice our own progress because we're not viewing ourselves through other people's eyes. When other people look at it, we can see, wow, that's a huge progress. Now, when all the kids have left home, the way that she grabs the family together and gets them all together is by going on these adventure trips, going on a ski trip when she hadn't skied for over 10 years. And so then right, let's have a family ski trip. I got a panicked phone call the week before. Oh my gosh, now I've got to ski. Why did I decide that was a good idea? But absolutely loved it the day after. So now her why is super strong because it's like, well, now I need to get super healthy. Now I need to be able to get into that zone so that I can, be part of the family life, so that they keep inviting us, so that we keep having these events. She's planned to call walking trips, all sorts of things. And it aligns with the highest values. It aligns, like health is one of the top values. Obviously adventure, obviously connection, obviously family. They're all the values that are really important to it. And those things help you kind of determine your why. So when and when it comes to your why, you want clarity, and when I take you through the process and the challenge, we take you through a unique process that helps you really get a deep level of why and understand that with clarity. But it's the most important thing is deciding why health is important to you, and just taking the time to think about that. So I'll just give you 1 minute. I'd like you to write down that sentence right now, and then just list, and it can be bullet points or it can be a sentence, why health is important to you. What is it that is it to do with adventure? Is it to do with family? Is it to do with socialization? Is it to do with mobility? Is it to do with anything? Whatever you decide is the most important things. So just jot that down for a second. If you'd like to share them in the chat, you're more than welcome. There's no pressure to. Okay, thank you very much. What have we got? Oh, cool. Thank you for putting all your places in. The kids will love that. I'll just think that's so cool. Awesome. Okay, yeah, independence. Yeah, increased mobility. Health means being there for the grandkids, 100%. Yeah, because you care. Because there's more books to read. Nice. Got to build that library. You want to give yourself self-love. Absolutely. Want to do all the things. I want to travel, adventure, flexibility. Yeah. I want to get through life's ups and downs easier. Love it. Keeping the mind alert and clear. I know. And when you start to think of those things and those experiences that you can have, one of the determining factors is health. And it's amazing how long these experiences last. Like I remember the day before my nana passed, I was helping her organize a wardrobe for summer, and we were just chatting. And she said to me, "Man, that trip to Ireland was awesome." And I was doing a hair, but when she said that, I was just like, "Whoa," I lost it. And I was like catching my tears because I didn't want them to land on her head. And I was like, man, that was 40 years ago. And not 40, 20 years ago. And, and she is, there at that stage of her life just going, that's what I remember. That's what I, am thinking about. And at the time, it was something that, she wasn't in the best house. She had to do a whole lot of work to get, traveling. And I think she was smoking at the time, so she stopped so she could travel, all these things. And, and then you have these wonderful experiences on the other side. So I think for me, that became something that was very motivating for, like, I want to have those experiences with my mum, my kids, 3 generations traveling together, those the kind of things that really sort of connect me to my why. So get clear on that why. And if you've done the challenge before, please don't sit on it and go, oh, I've sat on that and it's still the same. It won't be the same. You're in a different energetic state right now. You've got different goals right now. And get yourself into a good state when you're doing it too. Start thinking about fun things that you could be doing, and then set that particular why. And that way you'll find, that when it comes to the why, it's just all about getting the clarity. And that way, when you're showing up for the future you find the ways to make healthy things simple. You find the ways to make it easy and fun, because your why is strong. You're really motivated by that. So I'd like to get you to do just a wee thing now. If you actually, can I just ask in the chat, what were the practices? People said they did some wee little calming practices. Why leads to the how? 100%, 100%. Can you share in the chat, what are some of the health practices that you do that just kind of bring back the calm, a bit of stress relief, or a bit of a boost on your energy stakes? Because I'd just like to see sort of where we're at. What have we got? 5 by 5, 100%. Yep, music, awesome. Walks along the waterfront. Nice. Your music's one of the quickest ways to shift our mood. Nature. I know, Laurie. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it. You almost crave it. Oh, Paul McKenna. Yeah, that's a cool one, Dolly. Nice. Meditative walks out in nature, 5x5. Cool. Now, does everyone know, I might just go over very quickly. I think most people do, but I will quickly go over the 5x5. So the 5x5 is just doing something like breathing. It's basically trying to make sure that we're breathing from our belly and not from our chest, and doing that deep diaphragmatic breathing, and just breathing in for 5 counts. And so you can feel your tummy rise, holding it for 5 there, and then breathing out for 5, and doing 5 rounds of that. And so you might do 5 rounds of 5x5 breathing in the morning. You might then do it in the evening. A really good time if you want to encourage weight release, and everyone's like, yeah, what is it? Is doing it before you eat. Okay. Now there's a reason why so many cultures have a bit of a ritual around, before we eat, we stop, we pause, we say thanks, we say a prayer, whatever, we give gratitude for the meal. The reason we do that is it slows us down. It puts us in that parasympathetic nervous state. It gets us calm. I've been definitely guilty of running out the door, grabbing, a muesli bar, eating on the run, and I have managed to get through a whole day sometimes and thought, oh, I haven't sat down to eat all day. I mean, that's terrible. And when we do that, our body doesn't digest the food properly. We're in fight-flight mode, so we're not even making the most of the nutrients. Our body doesn't get any of the nutritional benefit really when we're not in that calm, rest and digest state. So by doing our 5x5 breathing before every meal, then you've locked it in to do it 5 times a day, easy, morning, night, and then 3 meals. So that would be a really cool practice if you wanted to inject it into your day before your meal. It just, calms the farm. This is really going to help. Another thing that can be quite good is to do like we were talking about on another call just recently this week about meditating, and how you've got your lovely different kinds of meditations. You've got your guided meditations. You've got just sitting and breathing and listening to your favorite song. You could do that, and it, sometimes if it has no words or has lyrics, just not singing but just closing your eyes and just listening to that for while you're doing your 5x5. That can be a form of meditation. Sitting outside under a tree and just listening to everything you can hear, everything, and just noticing your senses. What can you smell? What does the grass feel like under your hands, under your feet as you're sitting? What yes, just go tune into the, close your eyes, or you could open, but it's just tuning into the senses. And that's just a nice way, again, to just get that calm coming in. And the more we do that, the more we'll find that our body's responding to the message that all is well. When it gets the message all is well, then it starts the healing process. Then it starts the weight release process. It does all those things because our body is super sensitive to the feelings that we're feeling. If we're feeling different feelings and different emotions, it can totally affect our gut microbiome. It can affect all sorts of things in our biological responses. So we want to try and get that calm coming in. And that's, when we're doing that and we're balancing out and we're getting the good physical effects, well, that's when we show up in our best health. And we were in fight, well, then, we don't do that. So to prioritize that self-care and to get that coming in, I would like you to just try and get that 5x5 at least, but have a go at some of these other things. The things like, the guided meditations, a yoga nidra, maybe downloading an app like Calm or Headspace, just getting out in nature, doing a bit of yoga, the journaling, just pen and paper with a nice cup of tea out in the sunshine. Just do it moving. You might need to move to boost your mood. That might be the thing that works for you. Some people have had a stressful day. They're like, man, I just need to go out for a bit of a walk and shake it off. Because that way we feel like we're bringing in that balance. The other thing is to look at how, I think we underestimate the power of when it comes to our self-care, because often we're putting other people first. We're running around after other people. It's just natural. We're parents, we're might be grandparents. We're used to putting other people first. It's a wee bit of, it's in our nature to be that nurturing kind. But one of the best things we can do is put ourself on that list. Actually, can I just has anyone got a to-do list at the moment? If you put down the top 3 things in the chat, on the top 3 things, if you had to put them down on your to-do list today, what would they be? Top 3 things that are in your must do today. I'm going to put 3 things down. There we go. There's my 3. Water, meditate, but exercise. Oh, Judy, you nerd. I love it. They're all really nice, wholesome ones. I was meaning like actual to-dos. Nice. Brilliant. Mine is take this cool. That was my top priority today. Lunch. Sometimes when I'm doing those things, I have to like actually program in, go to the toilet, lunch. Like it's ridiculous, but those are things. And if I can easily get so focused on something that I can forget. And then last one was birthday party. My husband's birthday this evening, so we'll do something nice for that. But look, I love. This is awesome. Sleep more, walk. You're putting the nice things on your to-do list. So often we put busy, other people's things on our to-do list. But if we put meditation, drink more water, all those nice things on our to-do list, then they start to get done because we're prioritizing ourselves and we're putting our self-care on that list. The other thing that we perhaps don't realize has another detrimental effect on our health is loneliness. Now, if we know that our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, they have a direct impact on our microbiome. They affect the way that our gut operates. It affects our hormones. They can get them out of whack if we're stressed and we've got high cortisol or high adrenaline. So we need to regulate those by bringing in those lovely self-care techniques. But the other thing that people don't realize is loneliness. Now, this is the other thing that is actually huge. When being lonely, it causes the same stress, same physical stress on our body as if we were to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Like if we are in a state of severe loneliness, it can have just as much an impact on our body because we're in that state of worry or stress, or maybe we're repeating a story. All those things can have a huge impact. And so we need to notice, when we're trying to looking at inflammation, looking at different ailments in our body, is loneliness part of the problem? Is that something that we can address? Because if we can sometimes address that, then that can help the physical effects on our body. It can help reduce the sore joints, reduce the inflammation. So I want you to start noticing, what other physical effects are showing up, in that regard, and how can we mitigate those. And we'll talk a wee bit more about social connection, because I do think that's a missing block that is a huge part of our health that so many people have overlooked. The other thing is fight flight. As I said, it's trying to get ourselves out of that fight response. And the quickest way is our 5x5 breathing. So when we're doing that, we're feeling like we're doing the right thing. So if we want to look at self-care, SC, self-care, well, then there's 2 things that we can also look at. The first SC is social, I'll give me away the second one. First one is self-compassion. Okay, it's self-compassion. And it's looking at the way we think and we talk to ourselves. It's that inner critic and how the inner critic shows up. Now, if we're in a house and there's other people around, we can often talk and say, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me. Or, I had this crash with the car and, oh, you wouldn't believe it, and you can kind of dump on the day and share it with someone else. And it just feels a wee bit lighter. But if you're on your own and you've got those, stories going around, sometimes we can get ourselves into a bit of a spin. And then, you might look in the mirror and you might, talk to yourself like you would never talk to a neighbor or a family member or someone that you probably even disliked. You wouldn't use the same harsh words that you use when you talk to yourself sometimes. And so one thing that's worked really well for me is treating yourself like you'd treat someone you love. So if I look in the mirror and I look at something that I'm annoyed about and I say, oh gosh, you just use this, and I hear myself starting to get into that spin, then I think, would I say that out loud if my daughter was here? Would I say that to my daughter? Would I say that to, one of my best friends? And I wouldn't say that to probably one of my worst enemies. I'm yet to meet them, but I wouldn't do that. So you want to, treat yourself like you treat someone you love. And by showing up and just, the self-care is important, but so is the self-compassion and showing up and treating yourself with that same kind kindness that you probably give to everybody else during your day. The second SC is social connection. And that's where I think one of the missing loop is not only, will social connection improve your health, it'll improve your lifespan. If they've done all the studies, with people that live into their hundreds, it's people that have this sense of social connection and a nice, strong social network. I had one experience when I was with the Hadza, and I just had this epiphany when I'm sitting there looking around. I can't figure out whose kid belongs to who. Are you an auntie? Are you a mum? Are you a sister? Like, I really can't figure out. Everyone's just picking up everyone's kids and just helping out. And it just was like, wow, we're meant to live. It does take a village, and we're meant to live in this wee hub of, social connection where everyone just sort of pitches in. And I think that's why, especially us Kiwis, and I'm sure the Australians and probably people in Europe do it too, is over summer we want to live and do the caravan experience and do that stuff because we like to live in these small wee communities and do our dishes together and do our washing together and sit around in the evening around a fire together. And I was so lucky when I was with the Hadza, I could sit around the men's fire one night and listen to the stories, and the next night would sit around and have the women's stories. And here I am out with the chief there is on the right, who's fantastic. We're out hunting. It took a long time to get that bird, actually. I didn't get it, not with my shooting. But we would sit around, and the chief would share stories every night about the different hunts, and he would act them out. So even though I wasn't fluent in the Hadza language, he would act out the different hunts, and you could tell, it was a baboon that he was chasing, or it was this, and so there were stories around the fire. Around the females' fire, which I was lucky enough to be around, it was songs, and it was quite hard because we were from different places, and so we were trying to find songs that we all knew from, what childhood song do I sing that you sing in in America, that you sing in Germany, and that you sing in, what was the other girl, where was she from? She was from Transylvania. And we were going, oh, what song do we all know? And I think we ended up with was it ABCD or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something like this, but that was the only one that we all knew. But it was fun. It was just the back and forth of singing back and forth, and so you realize that in the evening you would have spent it in social connection. But what happens to many of us is we don't have that social connection. And so what do we do? What is our fallback? What do we often do? Yes, we go, I wonder how the fridge is going. And we go in for like second tea or a wee little something just to finish the evening off. But back in the day, we would have, the opportunity to hunt would have finished. There is no fridge. So it's interesting how, if we're finding that we need to plug the gap in the evening, maybe it's looking at social connection. Maybe it's looking at jumping in the family chat and sending a message around. Maybe it is, organising something and, to look forward to in the weekend with someone, or ringing someone in the family and just having a bit of a, hello, how's your day gone? So yeah, really noticing that. I have a beautiful client that I've been working with for a few years who managed to go traveling. Well, her big birthday, it was one with a 0 on it, went traveling with someone half her age, went to another country, all going around, did a fantastic job. And she was realizing the value of social connection. She was on her own and had pulled back a bit. And then now she goes off to her classes, and she's a social butterfly. She's the person that knows what's going on. She's the person that's like, she's like, I've been going to these classes for years, and then suddenly I'm checking in. I'm getting into that social scene. And I think the more we step up like that, we realize not only the value we can get from it, but the value that we give. It's just the fact that someone cared that I didn't show up at my aerobics class that day, and then someone asks you, oh, how are you? That's that sense of connection. And so sometimes we don't even see our own worth and how we are showing up, how that benefits other people as well. So absolutely. For my brother, I flew in my brother-in-law for my husband's birthday. It's been 2 years. Oh, how beautiful. I love those things. Fantastic. I love surprises. I did that to my bridesmaid when she was about to have triplets. Her mother had died when she was 18 and she was very stressed, and I just rocked. I hadn't met her husband because I was pregnant when they got married, and I sat in her living room when she walked in, and she just was like, no, you're not supposed to be here. No. It took a long time to process you're here, but it was so much fun. So yeah, I think noticing how important social connection is a key factor in our health. I had another client, she was not noticing her own progress, wasn't seeing that she was making any progress. I mean, who's been guilty of that? You look at your health journey, you look at the scales and you think, oh, I'm not making any progress when it comes to health. And so sometimes we don't see it. But for her, she had an epiphany when she noticed, oh, I finally fit my wedding ring. And for her, she hadn't worn a wedding ring for quite some time. It was just something that she didn't fit. She was waiting to get it resized. So finally, she fitted the wedding ring and she was like, oh my gosh. She said, you've got no idea how much joy it brings me. Every time, you're the same? Every time I look down at my hand, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like, oh man, I did that once again. And it's just this wee boost of, dopamine, a wee hit of the good happy hormones, because you're feeling like, yeah, I'm so proud of myself. And you're feeling that sense of reward. And what was so lovely was the ripple effect. She did the challenge, and then she went from this job where she was working in a boring place. It was in a warehouse. It was just a one-wee room. She was in charge of as a storage unit place. And she just was in this wee place with no one to talk to, and she'd go in when the kids were at school, do a job, finish, and then go home. Had no one to talk to during a whole day. And it wasn't really serving her, but she wasn't particularly bold enough to change the situation. After she did the challenge, she's like, actually, this is just not me. And she thought, well, maybe I'll do a bit more study about the health stuff. And so she started studying Reiki and doing a few things like that and really enjoying that. And then she was like, the study stuff's not that hard. I always didn't think I was bright enough to do it. And then she's like, okay, well, I really love kids. I would love to work in early childhood. Maybe I could apply for that. And so then that was the next step in her confidence, and she applied for that. And then she got even really bold, and she's like, well, if I'm doing my posting here, will you pay me while I'm doing it? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so suddenly she had changed jobs where she had wonderful social connection with adults. She was in her element because she's just maternal galore. She's meant to be around kids, this lady. And it all came from just, doing that shift in health. And we sometimes don't realize that ripple effect of once we change one small thing and we start with health, how it can ripple into other areas of our life. And that's, that all came from just, noticing, keep it simple, start with health. And then these things came from that. So if we want to think about how to create our, wild lifestyle and be able to keep that up all year long, I want you to notice, have you ever, it's a fun game to play, have you ever noticed yourself using food as a language? When's opportunities in society where we use food as a bit of a love language? When's that sort of like our call card or a reason to, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not playing that game. Valentine's Day, yes. Now that's when food marketers use food to manipulate us, 100%. Oh, chocolates, they associate a food with a holiday. And then, suddenly, Easter, chocolate eggs, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, Barb, good point. When someone passes away, yes, Laurie, automatic eating when we're at the movie theatre. And we get into that, and we go into that biological response where we used to be on alert, and we'd be eating the berries while we could. And someone would be there looking out for any predators. So we get into that automated eating. But so often we can find ourselves in front of a screen doing it. And it's like, oh, I got to the point, oh, I thought I had another handful. It's amazing how that can happen. Yeah, isn't it, Ruth? Lovely. I love that you suggested that. We make a connection when we were sick. For us, it was lemonade ice blocks for some reason. We always had lemonade ice blocks when we were sick. And yeah, I had the mumps. Dad gave me ice cream. I do remember once I must have been sick and I vomited up a banana milkshake. I could never have one again. That was an interesting one. But yes, it's amazing how much we use food to connect. And it's, even though we say after a funeral or someone's unwell, we rock up with food. But really, Food's just and people are grateful and they're thankful that you've thought of them, you've taken the time, but food's just the vehicle. It's really all about the connection. It's about the fact that someone's thinking about you. It's about the fact that someone's showing up. It's about the fact that someone's there for a conversation. Food's just the excuse for the visit, really, because I do feel that when with food, we need to just look at the way we are using it, and how we are making those relationships, like we were talking about with the the ice cream. I feel sick, therefore some ice cream will make me feel better. I mean, and they do that in hospitals. It's they do the whole, oh, you had your tonsils out, you get the jelly and ice cream. I remember my kids when they went to the doctors, and afterwards they gave them a lollipop, and my kids were like 2 and they're like, what's this? I was like, oh, it's just a plastic toy. I was like, you'll find out later, and there's no rush. But it's funny that they reward a stressful situation with a sugary hit. So just notice when we're doing that, and just start to notice how we're using food as a vehicle. And what's the most important thing there? Is it the food or is it the connection? I noticed with the Hadza, like our day revolved around food. It revolved around going out and looking for a particular animal, like it might be a baboon, or it might be a wild boar, or it might be even just birds. The woman would go out and they'd be looking for honey, they'd be looking for the tuber roots, for the berries, those sorts of things. So the day, our survival was based on food. But what we did have to do was we had to move to get our food. Like, that's it. And there was a lot of movement involved. Like, we were getting up at 5 and we would be maybe chasing some baboon footprints for, I think one day 4 hours, and then it rained. So then we came back. There was a lot of movement into getting our food. And this is the cool thing about the next level, the 3.0 challenge, is the sense that it's not just how we're eating, it's also the psychology around the movement that's involved to also get our food, those sorts of things. And for that, it was the movement was part of it, but it was the company and the village, and the fact that everyone depended on each other. And that's what takes us back to that social connection, because that's a biological need. If we weren't in the village and we weren't there, then we weren't able to access food. Therefore, we were at risk of not having survival. Survival was being threatened. So that's that biological need to have that sense of connection. And if we move away from that, then we're getting away from our programming. It can actually make it quite stressful. And so that's why it is our body has such a physical response to some of those emotions, like loneliness, things like that. So we don't really want to move. We look back and we see we've moved a long way from our ancestral eating, our biological design, and as I said, we used to move to get our food. So I was quite lucky when I saw that with the Hadza and see that in person. But I also got to see what a human body is meant to look like as well. Like when one of the tribes members was pulling back his bow and arrow, we were looking at the back, and I was standing beside a doctor. He actually videoed his back. He said, oh my God, because he said, those are muscles that humans haven't used for ages. He said, look at that, and he's pulling back the bow, and honestly, it was amazing. Like, it was just like, wow, I didn't even know there was muscles there. Like, it was quite incredible. And he was shooting at a huge distance, and the eyesight was incredible. Like, I mean, we're on top of a cliff and we're looking out over this big valley, and they shoot the arrow. And I mean, I couldn't see a bird if I've got pretty good vision, and I had my glasses on as well, but I couldn't see the bird that they were shooting. And then to find the arrow, once they shot it, they would know exactly where it was and find it in the tree, and there it was with a bird on it. And I'd be like, how could you do that? But when we are serving our body well, things like our eyesight is good, our muscles are good, we've got that flexibility and mobility. I couldn't age half the people. And the other thing that I noticed was there was no tension. No one got grumpy. No one had a spat at anyone else. I remember one time when one of the guys was shooting, the chief said, okay, I've had one, now it's your turn. And he basically gestured to the other person, well, it's your turn to shoot this one. And he went to shoot the bird, and he missed. And we were just like, oh, what's going to go down here? How's this going to go down? And so we all stop and we're looking around for the reaction. And the chief just buckled down and he's hitting his leg and he's laughing at him going, oh, you're just useless. And like, we still hadn't had any food at that stage. And I was thinking, like, if you were playing golf, someone would have had a worse reaction to that. But he just laughed. I mean, that was his food, could have been his food for the day. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting that there's this light-hearted playfulness. And that was the whole time. I didn't see anyone fall out, any conflict. And so it's quite interesting to see, when we're in good form and we're doing the things that we're meant to do and moving our body the way we're meant to, those things just come naturally. Because we've been kind of conditioned by the food industry and the diet industry to move away from that, and we've got to just reclaim it back. I noticed in one there was one client that over the challenges she had released about 20 to 30 kg, 25 to 30 kg. I actually done 2 challenges. The cool thing is she got into the challenge because her sister did the challenge, and she saw her sister's results and she was like, oh, okay, I want to have a go at that. So she'd done the challenge. And then just after she'd finished the challenge, then her kids said, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to do it with your mum. And so now they're on board. And so her son's doing the challenge, her daughter-in-law is doing it, some of her daughters are doing the challenge. And it's just been wonderful to see that social connection. Sometimes we feel like food is the barrier. We're like, oh, but if I eat this way, it's going to make socializing so hard. Or if I go out, well, then I have to eat a special way compared to other people. But she's just been leading by example and doing it on her own. And now the kids are all like, oh, well, we're going to do the way mum does it. And so, she's just led the way. And that was thanks to her sister doing the challenge initially. And so, sometimes we don't realize, we pockets of inspiration along the way. And that once we start leading the way, things do get easier. We have Christmas now, and when people come around, they bring, oh, here's a wild foot salad for you, Mick. And it's like, oh, awesome. It's because they're starting to think, what would they like? And that, even though the love language is food, they're still trying to think, oh, this will be helpful. So that's when we can shift from, using food as rather than being a place where, you're using it for comfort food and using it that way. You're actually using food in a way that it's not just therapy. Food doesn't have to be therapy. Food is fuel. Food is the thing that's keeping your body going. And so that was one of the cool, probably a huge game changer in the way that my kids have thought about food. And I'm noticing that, my kids are noticing what shows up well. If they've had like a skin irritant or something like that, they're like, oh, I've had too many bananas, or I've had too much sugar, I need to up the water. And they're starting to realize the effects of, if I eat this food, then this will happen in my body. So also tuning into that, and that's something that is fun to do when we go through the challenge as well. So I'd love to hear in the chat, can I ask just in here, what are some of the blocks that make you not want to do a health journey? Like when it says, oh, I've got to get healthy, but what are some of the things that come up for you that just make it feel like it could be hard, or it could be a challenge, or it could be something that you could just start on Monday? Or as Eric was saying who was on Eric's call today? He was talking about soon, how to spell soon. He said, it's really easy. It's spelled like this. Never. Because you go, I'll do that soon. Yeah, I'll do that soon. So sticking to it. Okay, that stickability. Doubt creeping in. Yep. Yeah, Shree, you're totally right. Sometimes it's just not knowing the right things. And that's how the diet, the health and the food marketers and the diet industry get us, because they make it confusing, very confusing. Stress, yep. Not liking lots of things. Doubt. Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Coming from that fear, coming from that doubt, all of the above. Judy's like, yep. I'm just raising my hand for all of them. So when we notice those things coming in, that's when we can play the reframe game and go, okay, so I'm coming from a place of doubt, I'm coming from a place of lack, I'm coming from a place of overwhelm, and starting to go, okay, rather than, and we talked about this the other day, instead of feeling like, for me, the word that kept creeping in was, oh, I just feel overwhelmed. And I wouldn't just say it like that. I'd say it with, to my husband, like, oh, I just feel so overwhelmed. My hand will be on my face. I'll be rubbing my face. And I'll just be like, head in hands, shoulders hunched, feeling overwhelmed. And so for me to reframe it, I just had to keep going, okay, I've got lots to do, but I'm curious. I'm curious about how we're going to fit that in. And so shifting that language was a great help to me, playing the reframe game, because that was a way to kind of shift me out of that fearful state, that worry state. I think what's the statistics? 90% of the things we worry about never actually ever happen. And we can do a lot of worrying. I've had school ring up and say, hey, Michelle, just ringing about your son, Liam. And then in that I've gone, oh, I need to get to the doctor. I need to quickly cancel that appointment. I'll need to go and pick him up. I have to apologize to ballet because I think he's fallen out of a tree, and I've made a whole story about it already. And I've totally, jumped on the worry train before she even got to the end of the sentence. And then she'll say, and everything's all good. And I'm like, oh, phew. But I already thought a woman's mind is a highway, like it's gone in multiple different directions. So yeah, it's no point being in that particular space. If we can get ourselves into reframing, we'll find that we're coming from a better place, and things do feel lighter and easier. And some of you too, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, the fact is, I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. And you actually can. Like, you can do this health thing on your own. It's many a client has gone through and done the videos and done things like that, and they've managed to do that. And they're highly motivated and they make it happen. But what does make it easier and what does make it more fun and more simple is that crowd mentality, is doing it and having that sense of social connection. Because suddenly we don't feel so alone. We don't feel like we're the only ones struggling with a particular problem. We don't feel like, we've got other people that are kind of like showing us the light, leading us the way. They have a bit of success and we're like, okay, that could be for me. I could get like that too. Or we have other people that, they're following the path. You're doing it a particular way, and then they go, oh, cool, I'm going to try that too, because I have that same issue. And I think that is one of the key things is when we're in that group setting, is not getting into that comparisonitis. It's not really a word, but that's what I always used to say. It's when you compare yourself to someone else. I went through the health challenge, and my husband was just like, ooh, and he wasn't being perfect, and I was being perfect, and I was like going, just going slowly, and it annoyed me. I was like, how come he's just speeding off? Partly it was the male genes, but it was, once you start comparing, again, that takes us into that doubt. It takes us into that worry. But when we start noticing, okay, well, that worked. Here's an example of that person getting this result. Well, then we're just being a bit more factual about it. We're taking the emotion out of it. And we're like, okay, well, that could be me too. I've just got to do this, and I'll get there. Let me tell you about one lady. She had put off doing the challenge because it was too expensive. It was like, oh, I can't do this. It's too much. I'm just feeling like, she said, oh, I haven't got the money for it. That would be, so many grocery bills and those sorts of things.
You want to go on Gaia?
Oh, I'll just mute there. There we go. And so, she was in the throes of early, young kids, busy family life, just looking after everyone else. Her old self-care had sort of just gone out the door. And she was complaining with having problems with, joints, and her hormones were out of whack because she'd been pregnant, and just had lots of sort of inflammation in her body. And even though she'd said, oh, I don't have the money for this, she was spending a fortune on a whole lot of supplements, trying to kind of get the energy up and things like that, going to doctor's appointments, going to a specialist for the aches and pains, and doing all that. And it was 2 years before she finally decided to start that program, and then saw the benefits of doing it. And that stupid lady was me. That was me. I was put it off for a long time. I was like, no. I put everyone else first, decided that they, I'll do this, do that. And as my biggest kind of slap in the face, but biggest thumbs up at the same time, was when my kids said to me, Mum, you're much healthier now that you're eating healthy. You're much happier now that you're eating healthy. You're calmer. And I had no idea that, the foods I was eating was also affecting, my stress levels and was affecting, the way I was showing up as a parent. And that's what I talk about with the ripple effect, like how it just starts to ripple into other areas of your life. So really want to have a chat. I just noticed yeah, it's true, Barb. It is. It's difficult when someone else is not doing it with you. And that's why it's like there's that safety in numbers. It's much better when there's some other people doing that same experience and you can kind of relate to each other. So well done on showing up today, team. I'm really impressed. You're wanting results in your health, and I think that the first thing you can do is show up for yourself, is take time for yourself to do those things, because that shows that you're committed. That's showing that you're wanting that change. It's showing that for many of the people that about to embark on our 3.0 challenge, they're like it starts on the 24th, and they're like, oh yeah. But some of the people were just like, oh screw it, I want to start now. Like I'm in the zone. And so it's about finding that clarity that we talked about at the beginning, getting really clear about your why, then finding those pockets of time to prioritize that self-care, to then navigate with self-compassion, to then find that lovely sense of social connection. Because once we start doing those things, we end up showing up as a better version of ourselves for others, but then, they get a better version of us, and then that's a win for them as well. So I really would love you to, if you walked away with anything today, I'd love you to walk away with the fact that I'm going to prioritize my self-care through self-compassion and through social connection. Because I think with the stuff we've done over the last 3 days, they between that and sleep and navigating some, quick hacks to get some good food on your plate, that's it. But if you're feeling like, oh, where do I go now? How do I do this on my own? What are the steps? The steps can be easy. The steps can be broken down. And I guess one of the biggest things about when I went through the Wildfoot journey was I got to the end, and there were points, don't get me wrong, there were points, especially in certain weeks, where I was like, man, this is just so hard. And I remember sort of going, I feel like the rug's been pulled out from under my feet. I don't know what to do this week. Because I wasn't a particularly good cook. I never, if we were to choose my favorite cook in the family, it was definitely my husband. But then I got to the end of the challenge, and I looked back at what I had achieved, and I went, that was relatively easy. And that's the thing, like, it's quite funny when you look at how things that you've done. If you had said to me in week 1, you're going to do this, and this, I was like, no, I'm not. I remember someone telling me that after I'd had my kids, my son, and I went to go and see a holistic practitioner. And he said, oh, you need to take a break from this food, and this food. And I think I walked away from the appointment crying, going, I just don't even know where to start. Like, it's too hard. I'm a breastfeeding mum. I don't know where to get calcium from. And, I just was so overwhelmed by the whole experience. And I didn't. Again, I put it off for many years. He was 2 then. And I think when I did my Wildfoot journey, I put it off till, let me think, he would have been, I think maybe 7. So, carried on like that for 5 years. And then I put off doing the Wildfoot journey for another 2 years because I was like, no, I'm too tired. I'm not doing it. But then, a lot of people have said to me, it is like a line in the sand. When you just, whichever way you do it, when you start to prioritize your health, if you just go, right, this is it. This is the moment now that I'm going to step over this line. This was me before. This is me after. And get clear about that why, and then start making those things happen. I'd like to just talk to you a wee bit about the opportunity that's coming up. And if there's any questions at the end, I'm really happy to do a bit of a Q&A where we can do a bit of a debrief of any things that are coming up for people and how we might sort of solve some of those things. The opportunity that's coming up is Eric has released a new version of Wildfoot, and he's been working behind the scenes over Christmas and over this New Year's period. And there's a new version called 3.0. So basically, originally when he developed Wildfoot, it was just about looking at one aspect of physical health, and that was how we eat. And now it's not looking at just how we eat, it's looking at how we move. And also bringing in different pillars of health. So not only just our physical health, but looking at our mental and emotional well-being and looking at our spiritual health. And so this particular challenge is designed a bit differently. It's more of a whole body experience. It's looking at how we move, how we eat, how we think. It's bringing in lots of stress reduction techniques, some things like our breathing, some things like our meditations, some things like just general, what would we call them? Stress reduction techniques, but also a bit of mindfulness as far as our mental and emotional well-being, things that really can help bring a bit of balance in there. And the journey goes for the same distance. It goes for 14 weeks. And we go through it in an easy step-by-step manageable way. But the cool thing is we go through as a group and we go through and experience it all together. And it's just in bite-sized chunks so that it's just enough to push the boat out, get a wee bit out of our comfort zone each week. But as I said, when you get to the other end and you look back, you think, wow, I've actually come a really long way. And the cool thing is that we do it as a group. Because when we try and do these things on our own, we do feel that sense of panic. Like, when we're away from the tribe, we do feel that sense of overwhelm or fear or, oh, will this work for me? And because we haven't got that support. And there's two ways you can do the challenge. You can go through the challenge and do it with the Worldwide Challenge. And Eric will take a lot of those calls because this is this new baby. And so we'll be going through that challenge as a group. But we'll also, the other way to do it, because I don't know if you're a bit like me, but when I went through my first challenge, I didn't raise my hand, didn't like a post, I didn't comment, I didn't do anything for the first 6 weeks because I didn't want to leave a digital footprint. I was too scared. I was like, oh, I don't want to do any of those like things. So I just stood on the sort of the sideline, and it wasn't until we had an event where some friends were coming around and I had to suddenly cook some food, and I was like, oh, I'm lost. And so I hit the group up and asked them for some recipes. I was like, help, what's some good recipes? And so people came in and helped out with that, and that's when I started to see the value of that connection and getting into a group. And so you can go through the group. As I said, Eric will be taking a big group through, but if you are one of those people that can tend to step to the sideline or doesn't want to be, waiting on a call for a long time, hoping they might get picked to talk, we do have an opportunity to go through with the coach. So I take a group through together. We go through, we meet once a week. We get that clarity. We do those exercises to get crystal clear on what it is. I take you through an easy system that's just 7 steps that can work out, okay, what is my why? And we do some of those exercises as we go through the challenge. And then as we go through, if there's things that come up that we're like, okay, well, that's all good in theory, but let's work out how we implement it. Then we get together. We don't have to raise a hand in the big group of a few thousand. We can do it in a small group and go, okay, right, help me. I need to brainstorm. And so we go through. Plus, you got someone that's kind of prodding you, that knows your story, that's following your journey. And I can tell you, she's an ex-teacher. She's been in the coaching field for quite some time and teaching field, and so she's one of those ones that like to make sure everyone gets over the line, make sure people get to the finish line, make sure people are accountable, which is good because sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that consistency, but sometimes we also need someone just to follow on our journey and make sure that we get where we need to get to. So that's the option. You have got that opportunity. It's coming up on the 24th of February. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to take a group through. We've got some people here that are already signed up, ready to go and getting excited about it, which is awesome. And it's going to be a different kind of challenge. As I said, it's a whole body approach. So as I said, I'll bring up, actually, Ray, would you be able to share the slide? Would that be okay with the different options? Because some of you have come from different places. Some of you have just want to find out about health, and that's awesome. Some people have come because they've been studying with Mindvalley, and they might have done a course through Mindvalley, so they've come through that platform. Some people have come through the Wildfoot platform. So there's a few different ways, as I said, that you can access the challenge. If we could share that one, Ray, please, the 3 tiers, we'll share that and we can explain about it. So basically, when we have the option of doing the challenge, you've got 3 ways you can do it. Currently, you can do the old version of the challenge through Mindvalley, and that's the 2.0. So that's the original challenge that many of you have done. So I think they said the other day it's now going to be part of the membership, which is the first time ever. It used to retail for $8.95. And I think that now it's going to be merged because it's the older version now. It's going to be part of the membership. So that's a really cool bonus, and it's never been. So that's quite cool. The second way to do the challenge is to do it with WildFit headquarters. And so you would get put into a main group. There'd be a group of you going through. You would have the option to be in that Facebook group, to attend those calls and to go through as a group. And there's good things about that is that Eric will be on the call. You'll get lots of time, with him doing some of the call. So that's the Mind Valley one there is the blue one there. The Worldwide Challenge is with Eric. You'll get the new 3.0 videos and the new content. You'll get more of a whole body approach rather than just looking at what we're eating. We'll get the moving and the mindset and all those things as well, all those tools. You get access to the Worldwide Facebook group, which will have quite a lot of people in it. And of course, the group coaching calls where you can get definitely on some, but you'll have to be, in there fast to get the hand up and not be sitting on the sidelines like I was for 6 weeks. And so that I think videos only is retailing at $4.99. I actually think coaching on top of that is going to be a bit extra, but I haven't heard the pricing from them yet. But that's what we were told from headquarters. And then the other option is if you'd like to come through. We've got a wonderful group going through the challenge together, and you can come through with us. You get to have the best of both. You get 2 challenges in one. You get to be part of the Worldwide Challenge, the yellow one. You get to be part of that, do all those things. But then we meet regularly once a week, and we have our calls in 2 different time zones. We check in and we set up our intentions for the week and work out, okay, how are we going to achieve what this particular challenge of this week is. We have recipes for every season. So when we're going into different ways of eating and having holidays from different types of food, we'll have recipes that support you all the way along there. You have access to our own private Facebook group where we have all the call recordings, the ones from the main group too. We'll take the ones from this group, put them all in our wee hub so you know where everything is organised nicely in the guides. There'll also be additional calls where we'll have some guest speakers coming in, some different speakers talking about movement, about hormones. Hopefully I've got one just working on it at the moment that will come in and do a bit about forgiveness and trauma. So we'll have some guest speakers coming in and talking to our group. We'll also have some weekly resources. I'm a teacher nerd, so watch out. There's going to be some stuff in there that's going to relate. I'm going to be throwing acronyms at you left, right, and centre. But there will be some things like that will be helping you to support you. So where we see the need, we can kind of go, okay, this is what this group needs, this particular thing, and we'll make sure that we cater to the people in the group. And then there'll be an unofficial support handbook that will help you through the challenge that you would have done before. But as we're going through, we'll be making one so that when we get to the end of the challenge, you've got some lovely PDFs there that can help you can go back to, and that will help you anchor in the challenge. Because as you go through this challenge, it's a wee bit different than the worldwide the previous version, the 2.0 version. You have the challenge while you go through it, and then you have it for a few months after. And having that handbook and being able to go back to that will be really, really helpful. And then, yes, as I said, we'll have some guest speakers coming in to support us on our journey. And there's a fast action bonus. And some people have already taken me up on this. So we've already had 1 or 2 intention calls where we've set some of our goals for our physical health, for our mental and emotional. We were just working on our spiritual the other day. So we've already got some people that are underway with that and have taken fast action. We don't start to the 24th. So there's still time, and if you wanted to get that fast action bonus, you can meet with you. We can bring you up to speed very, very quickly. Meet in our own wee group and get that happening so that you've got some things in place ready to start the 24th. Going right, I'm ready. Let's do this. I needed to start yesterday. And so that's what's on offer. It won't be at that price again because that's just a friendly price in the sense that it's going to be a new platform. There's going to be a bit of forgiveness around just learning the new platform, us getting savvy with the tech and things like that. But the cool thing about this challenge is it's going to be a bit of a pick a path. You get to choose your own adventure. Like those books that you used to read with kids, you get to the end of the chapter and they say, right, turn to page 81 if you decide to do this, or if you're going to walk away, turn to page 44. And so you pick your path. So when you go into the challenge, you will do a quiz and then you pick your path. You will then have to work out, okay, what is it that I'm going to I want to work on. And it might be, I want to work on sugar. I want to work on alcohol. I want to work on stopping smoking. I want to work on caffeine. So there'll be certain, when you do the quiz, it'll then give you some feedback about where you're at, and it'll tell you, you're on the two tracks that we think are most suited to you. The bonus tracks will be these two, and it will add them to your particular challenge. So that's the deal, team. If you'd like to take a wee screenshot of that, if you wanted a link and you wanted to sign up today, you're welcome to do that. I have everyone who has signed up to this call. Because you had submitted and signed up beforehand. I've submitted it already, and if you decide to go ahead and do the challenge, I've got it so that you can get lifetime access, but that is for the fast action takers. It's only probably for today, and I can lock that in just because the cutoff is like it's just been, and I did submit a list of people that were on the call so that they knew that if people were considering that they would be able to access lifetime access to the 3.0. Because going forward, the policy is that will just be you get access for during the challenge and then just a wee bit later. So if lifetime access and you want to be able to go back, I'm a nerd. I love it. I love going back. I go and rewatch videos, and if I've done a course, I will go back and look at those things. If that's something that's like, yeah, that fits to me, then you'll want to take the fast action. Otherwise, the other option is that you also get the bonus of those intention calls. We've got another one next Monday. I think the one at 7 p.m. New York time, and one at 2 a.m. I think it's Tuesday, 2 a.m. New York time, just so that we're covering different pockets of the world. I'll leave it there. I would love to have you come and join, because I know that for you to get the results that you want to do and to get on top of your health, there's nothing more exciting than doing it with a group, the people that are taking you on a simple ride, an easy ride, but then it's a wild ride to health. But along the way, you're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to have that sense of connection and get those results that you're after at the end. So I'll open it up to some questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that are on. Come on in, Shell. Nice to see you. Here we go. I'll ask you to unmute. How's that? Brilliant.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello,
I can hear you.
What you said of the 3.0 interests me, and it was as you know, very recent that I finished the August cohort.
Yeah.
So for those that want to, and even before I took that, I've been a Mind Valley member for some years. Is it still $500 to take
for the membership?
No, to take 3.0.
It's $499. So you can do it with you can do it just with videos only. I think it's $499, and then you can do it by going through and getting the challenge and coming through together with the coaching and in our group, in our container for $499. So you get the best.
There isn't anything special for alumni or Mind Valley members.
Yeah, Mind Valley, the bonus for Mind Valley won't get access to 3.0 this year. It might be
really?
it might be near the end of the year, but that might get it. But it's not happening for this upcoming challenge that they're doing in March, I think. And it's not. I'll say that Wildfoot headquarters will want to get up to date with the tech, and then before they hand it over. So I would say they'll be just a wee step behind. So they'll be doing the 2.0 challenge at the moment on Mind Valley, the one you've done. And the 3.0, what was the second part of your question?
I was presuming, well, I'm surprised that 3.0 is not going to be on Mind Valley, but you're telling me that it's kind of a beta level, and once the bugs are worked out, then it will be
Yeah, I think they want
Valley.
to get I don't know if it's at beta level, but I think they just want to get savvy with the tech before they then go, and now let's implement, Mind Valley's tech. Because I work for both, I'm a master coach in both groups, so I can see how the different groups operate. So I totally get that. It's just the setup in the background is quite different. So yeah, that they will probably get that maybe later in the year or maybe next year. I'm not quite sure the timeline yet. But the 3.0 is only available through headquarters, and they usually do 2 challenges a year. So there's usually a challenge now, and there's usually a challenge at the end of the year, come sort of around like what you did, the September one. Yeah.
So for people who have never done any Mind Valley before, it's the same price for them as it is for not Mind Valley that have never done Wild Fit.
Yes.
There's no bonus discount price for people who are already Wild Fit involved.
No.
Well, I find it disappointing. I'd really like to 3.0, but I'm not going to do that money at this point. That's really
I can understand that. There's the option, I think, on the WildFit site where you can just try. You can do the first 2 weeks of it, and I think that's at a lower price. But then you'd have to pay the difference when you get to that next level and you carry on. So I think it kind of balances out. With the Lumini, it's because you've got the old platform. It actually on the background it'll take a bit more to upgrade the platform for people that have done the challenge before. So I think that's why there's not a huge discount for Illumini. It has gone down from $895 down to $499. So it's really at a point where most people are getting quite a good discount, because up until now the challenge has been $895. When I did it was $14.95. That was huge. And that was through Mind Valley.
For me, coming into it in August, because I was a Mind Valley member, I got it at I think the $499 price, as opposed to other people were paying $849 or something.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I do have a payment plan too, Shell. Like that's an option that some people have chosen to do as well, so that it's spaced out over the 16, 18 weeks. So that's another option as well. Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Flavia, come on in.
Quick question. So when we start on February 24th, because I'm Team Michelle, but like when we start on February 24th, you'll be sending, because I'm Team Michelle, you'll be sending me an email, right? Like you've been doing? Okay.
Yeah. So you'll get emails from me telling us about our meeting times and things, but you'll also get logged on to the WildFit website as well. So you'll get emails from WildFit support at wildfit.co as well, .com. You'll get emails from them as well. So, but if you ever get lost, the hub is our Facebook group where we put the links to all the calls, the times of all the calls, everything's in there, so that you just really need to go to one place. But you will get emails from me and emails from them just about the different meeting times. It'll be 1 hour to your call, those kind of things, just those prompts that keep us on track. Yeah.
I remember starting any kind of program like this at the beginning. It was a little bit like, oh my God, I don't want to miss anything.
Yes, it's horrible, especially if you're on your own and you're new to it. It's like, oh, am I doing it right? Have I missed anything? Yeah,
because I was part of the beta for the back to spring.
Yeah,
so there's I know what it feels like when he's doing the beta thing, but as well. Now, can you so will the dashboard have anything on it?
Your WildFit dashboard?
Yeah, my WildFit dashboard.
Yeah. So once you're loaded into the program, and that'll be like, this coming up this week or next week, you'll then be able to go into your dashboard. The dashboard doesn't go live till the 24th. So you won't be able to access anything on there as far as your program till the 24th. But then, we go live. I think there's one call on the 23rd, the day before, which is a fun call. And then we start on the 24th at 12 p.m. New York time. Yeah.
Okay. So the calls will be listed on the dashboard as well. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the calls going forward will be Monday, 12 p.m. New York time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll have our own call at the beginning of the week as well. But that's the nice thing of having someone follow you through on the journey. Like if you're lost, you just need to go, okay. It's like being in an airport and you're like, I don't know where to go. So you go to someone with a lanyard and go, right, I'll be your lanyard person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I asked that for a lot of people who probably had the same question, That was
Yeah.
my big thing. And actually just setting all this up is a challenge for me.
That's
So I'm like, I'm there because I'm doing it.
yeah. But this is good. We don't get any payoff without a bit of investment. Like if we don't put the time in, if we don't have to organize the tech and do all these things, then and if it comes to us too easy, then we don't follow through. So
No.
it's gotta use our time or use our resources or whatever, so that we can actually then feel like we're going to get the max out of it. You would have signed up to well, you're here. This is a free 3-day course, but you're here. So maybe you're not one of those people. But sometimes, when you get those things and you don't quite invest in doing the time, just cutting and pasting the links and doing all those things, you don't invest as seriously. So well done. I think it's good. You're asking all the right questions.
Yeah. Well, I need to thank Bonnie. It's like we've gotten to know a couple of people in your group, and thank God I have her. She's like my reminder note, or and you do. It's like Team Michelle, but with additional team members.
But that's the beauty of a community, isn't it? That's the beauty of a community. Because then suddenly you don't feel alone. Someone you go, what did she say? What did he say? Like you've got someone else to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Michelle. We'll see you soon again.
See you soon, Flavia. I've got that with my parenting group. School started last week and there's all these messages going around, are we allowed to wear these kind of shorts now that the seniors and and it's so handy to have that hub where you go to like the hive mind and just ask questions. Barb, come on in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I told Sue, we're not going to call it Team Michelle. We're a family.
Yes, I agree. 100%. I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question for Debbie and I. I thought at one point you said it was 9 weeks. So is it 9 weeks or 14?
Okay. So it's 14, but the course is divided into sections. So the first few weeks, we'll be looking at our relationship to food and looking at, how food shows up in our body and tuning into the psychology of food. So we're going to be looking at that in the first 2 weeks. For alumni that have done the challenge, it will be slightly different. We'll have a few wee tweaks for you. You know how the challenge is going. You don't have to rush and bring things that are below the food freedom line. You can have a wee play with just a few experiments. So that's what the first 2 weeks. Then we get into the 9 weeks of the Wilder Body 3.0 version. Then the cool thing is Eric's listened to us coaches. Like I've been so lucky to be coaching in the Mind Valley group and the headquarters group as a master coach, and seen easily over 10,000 people go through the challenge, and we all get stuck at one point. And I got stuck at that point, which is in the last week of the challenge, where you feel like you just get so much. It's like cool food categories and seasonal rotations and what category am I in and all those things. And there's just too many things all in that last week. So they've listened to that. And then the last 3 weeks, so it goes 2, 9, then the last 3 weeks is actually just implementing it, working out how we can put habit stack and how we can get that to be part of our identity. How can we make that fit easier? Let's do a deep dive around seasonal rotations and all those things, so that we start to understand basically how it works a bit more. And that way we leave the challenge feeling like, okay, I've got a handle on this now. I didn't have to do it all in 1 week. I mean, I used to, as a coach, sneak the stuff in the week before as well, so that you had longer weeks. So I'd be like, no, I'm going to tell them early, because I just feel like you need a bit more time. But now it's 3 weeks, and that's perfect, because you'll leave feeling like I've got the reins firmly now. I'm my own CEO of my health. I've got this.
So that's good.
That's good. Yeah. So that's kind of the structure. Yeah.
Okay. 2 more questions. One was, did I miss a call with Eric today?
Oh, yes. He was on the Living Wildfoot call. He took that one today.
How did I miss that?
Are you in the Living Wildfoot group? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he took that one today. It was 12. I think it was the same time, 12 p.m.
Do you know if there's a recording of it?
There's definitely a recording.
Okay. I'll watch that then.
Yeah.
And then what was my other question? I wrote them in the thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, the questionnaire or the thing. When do we get that, where we do that survey? Is that after the 24th then?
No, it'll be before the 24th. So you'll probably get that, and then before the end of the week or the beginning of next week. they'll
Okay.
come from headquarters and they'll say, right, I want you to go. And take your time when you do the survey. Take your time. Yeah.
Okay.
That way you can pick like the best tracks will be sort of, selected for you. Yeah. So don't
Okay.
rush that part.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Michelle.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience, team. And we'll if you haven't got your name, if you've joined us during the thing and you haven't got your name in there, make sure you put your name up there, because as I said, we're going to be drawing a free a bit of a prize, a bonus prize for someone. It'll either be a one-on-one coaching session or it'll be a free challenge. Sue, come on in. There you go, gorgeous.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, hang on. One more. I love this game. We play it lots.
Just one quick question. I originally joined up under Mind Valley, but now nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So when they update our thing, will I lose access to the 2
Oh, in Mind Valley?
Well, I'm now with WildFit. I mean,
Yes,
I
yes.
started with Mind Valley, but then
Yeah.
when I switched over the second time, I
Yeah.
did it with WildFit. So I've got that for life at the moment. So I understand.
Yes, you
So
have.
this will be a separate dashboard, or will I lose what I had before?
No, so you'll still have, even if you're not even a member of Mind Valley, and you've just done the challenge with them, you'll still always have access to your thing. But with your membership, you'll definitely have access to the 2.0. With our platform, you'll be able to have lifetime access to 2.0 whenever you want to go in, if you've done the challenge on that platform at headquarters. And then because you've signed up early, you'll have access to 3.0, and you can always go back to those videos because you have signed up early enough to then be able to access that. So yeah, so you'll get that was there was a certain date where they're cutting off the lifetime access. So as I said, I've submitted the people there on this call, and if people wanted to take up that opportunity, then they would be eligible for that.
There's just one other question, because of all the countries that are ahead of America, we have to get it. We have to start a day later. So will we only get the recordings on the 25th?
Well, good question. Hang on. Let's say, yeah, we will, because we'll be starting, like, everyone's on the 24th, but we'll be like,
we'll be starting on the back foot for the first day. Okay.
We'll just be starting on the 25th. On the 24th, we'll just chat to each other and go hoody hum, wait for the world to catch up. And then we'll be on the 25th for us. Yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
that's kind of our Tuesday, which is odd. What used to happen, and I had to really nag for this to change, was that we would get the videos much later on a time thing. And so at least now the timing's right, because I would say, well, tomorrow you will get that cool, because we were always so much ahead. But now they've got it released on depending on the country. So you might find that on the 24th in New Zealand, because you're signed up as an Australian or New Zealander. I think I only gave it to the New Zealanders. Sorry, no, I didn't do it to the Australians. But you might find, you're South African, you might fit in.
That's no problem.
So you might find that you might be able to access your dashboard on the 24th. So the call won't be there, but you might be able to access your dashboard. That might go live still on the 24th.
Oh, wow.
Your 24th.
That would be fantastic, but I won't count on it. Thank you very much.
So have a look. You never know your luck.
Thank you.
No worries. Charlene, come on in. Here we go.
Hi.
Hello.
I just wanted to, I wasn't clear what you said as far as if we already signed up, do we get the bonus call, or is it just, are you doing a drawing now for the bonus call?
You get
as
the
well?
bonus call. Yep. So we've got another call next week. It's 7 p.m. New York time on the Monday, or Tuesday, 2 a.m. New York time. We'll have the bonus calls, and we'll be setting up our intentions and making sure we're ready for the following week. So you're welcome to join us for that.
Okay.
Yep. So come join us,
Thank you.
and you'll get lifetime access because of the date when you signed up too. So you're all good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a bother. Cool. Right, team. Well, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for the hour and a half out of your day to focus on your health. Well done. I'm very intrigued about what Bonnie's been cooking. And Wendy, it's checking the chat there. Is there anything else in there? All good, all good. What we will do is we will put everyone's names onto a bit of a spinning wheel. And Ray's going to kindly help us do a bit of a draw to see who is the person that's going to win either A, a challenge, or B, we've got everyone's names in there. So I think we need to have a bit of a, my husband, who's a drummer, he's really good at doing all those kind of things. I'm not particularly good. So drum roll, please. We'll get the spinning going. We'll see who's going to be the person that's going to get the either a free 3.0 challenge and join us for the challenge and starting the 24th, or B, have a great deep dive and we'll be doing a one-on-one. Which reminds me, Debbie, you have still got one on hold. So just make sure that you use that. It might be one that you pull out in this particular challenge. I remember you winning a bit of a prize at one stage and you were then gallivanting around the world and we haven't used it yet. So make sure you do. Right, Ray?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Go. Charlene, well done. Fantastic.
Congratulations, Charlene.
So Charlene, that's fantastic. You signed up already, but you will be having, you will have the opportunity to have some one-on-one coaching calls together where we can do a bit of a deep dive into any particular area that you would like to do in your health. And we'll make sure that if there's any follow-up resources or things that you need from that particular, those sessions, we can make that happen for you. So well done. Congratulations. That's super exciting. Really happy for you. So you're asking the right questions. You're in the right place. That'll be really cool. Well, thank you so much for your attention today. Thank you for putting yourself first. Thank you for thinking about your health. Make sure you spread the word if there's other people that you think would benefit from taking some time to prioritize their self-care, to look after themselves a bit more, to getting themselves back on track when it comes to health. Spread the word, invite them. There's a link there to sign up if you'd like to sign up. And as I said, there are payment plans too, if that's something that you need to think about as well. And we start and we're all systems go on the 24th. But in the meantime, please don't be a stranger. Please keep in contact. I want to hear how you're going on your health journeys. I love when I haven't seen people for a while and they've popped up in a Mind Valley or at a headquarters challenge. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you since January. I haven't seen you since 2 years ago. So I do love that. I love to be kept in the loop about your latest wins or your particular progress that you're making. So please keep me in the loop. And we'll look forward to seeing many of your fantastic faces starting very soon. We'll see some of you for the intention call next week. And then we'll see the rest of you on the 24th, those that are keen to be doing that. Keep working on your health. Keep working on that self-care, self-compassion, and social connection. And stay wild. Take care. See you soon.
Bye, girl.
See you soon.
They're all come off mute. Hi everybody.
Hi. What were you cooking, Bonnie?
I made